Hi, my name is Julia, and I'm here to talk about general favorites for the month of May as well as early June. So, back in May, there was an event called We Rise, and it was a week-long art gallery exhibit focusing on mental health, but it also touched on racial diversity as well. I personally enjoyed the art. There were also activities such as screen printing, documentaries, and live music. I don't know who coordinated the event, but I think this was like one of the most organized events in LA I've ever been to. The fact that it was super organized and everything was free speaks high volume. So whoever did the grant proposal did like an amazing job. If you didn't go, you kind of lucked out, but hopefully I convince you to go next year. Currently, I have a favorite artist. Her name is Agathe, and she makes illustrations that are really, to me, very beautiful, playful, and super cheeky. This is the first art piece I've gotten from her. It's still my favorite. I got this I think like last year. It's so pretty. And then I recently got this one. It's just a girl in her reflection, very simple but super sweet. And I feel like it complements my room and also my personality as well. Lately, I've been listening to more like chill pop lounge music. I don't know if that's a real genre, but you know what? We're gonna roll with it. I've been listening to Tim Atlas. One of my favorite songs from him is "Compromised." I've also been listening to all of Neil Francis, Mac Miller's "Swimming." I mean, I've listened to it before, but lately I've been feeling like it really reflects the emotions that I've been going through. My current favorite song on that album is called "Come Back to Earth." I've always loved Frank Ocean. I've been listening to him more than usual. There's also some European music I've been getting into, like Sigrid. She's like a Norwegian pop singer. There's also Claire LeFou. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. She has this one song that I found on Spotify, and I just play it all the time in the car. And last but not least, I have been listening to Ali and AJ from like the Disney Channel. Their music has definitely evolved. It's now considered synth pop. Two of my favorite songs on their current album, Sanctuary, is Church and Don't Go Changing. Lately, I've been reading a lot. Here are the three books that have stood out for me. The first book is called Look Me in the Eye by John Elder Robison. I don't know if you have read or watched the film called Running with Scissors by Augustine Burroughs, but John Elder Robison is Augustine's older brother. And it's just really interesting to see like John Elder's point of view of their childhood versus Augustine's. It starts off talking about his dysfunctional childhood, explaining, what he was like growing up and, maintaining his authenticity, which led him to becoming a set designer for Kiss and then an engineer and then having his own auto shop. I feel like I'm dragging it on, but there's so much more to it than what I'm trying to explain right now. Just read it. So another book is The Misadventures of an Awkward Black Girl by Issa Rae. I'm a huge fan of Insecure. The memoir is partially based off of her YouTube series that she made before Insecure became like a huge thing. I think she's very vulnerable and she opens up a lot about like these embarrassing stories that anyone can relate to, but also, certain struggles that she had growing up, like the relationship with her father. Her father unfortunately had an affair, and that really affected her and how she started dating. It was kind of like a weird thing just to understand why people do things even though they're wrong. I mean, everyone has different perspectives and different walks of life, so I appreciated her being super candid and open about that. So the one chapter in the book that I didn't agree with, it was about dating for Asian men and Black women. So basically, she was, she acknowledged that there was no data to back up this chapter and her theory. There are so many like videos and articles about, racial preferences in dating, and it would have been like cool to back that up to create a more legitimacy to it. And like, because without that, it didn't really feel humorous to me. I understand that it was like a memoir, but also like she should not be speaking on behalf of all Black women and all Asian men. I think for that chapter, because it's a sensitive topic, she should have had other people's perspectives on it. Maybe like, including other people's quotes on dating, or having Asian men or Asian women kind of read through it just to see if they can really affiliate with what she was talking about. So, it kind of sucks that she didn't take that extra mile. It was a bit of a missed opportunity. I have nothing but respect for her. So, me saying this, it's not because I don't care about her or enjoy her work. I just feel like she could have done a little better. Then, last but not least, I'm super excited because I've been waiting for months to get this book. I finally got Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat in the library. It is a cookbook by Samin Nosrat. And it looks really big. And like, let me be clear, I never read cookbooks. I hate cookbooks. I usually just YouTube everything, but this was a book that really broke it down for me. It looks really like heavy and dense, but most of it is pictures, so relax. So I know this looks kooky, but I really appreciate that she uses a lot of visual charts in her cookbook. So for instance, this is a chart about oil and the different oils you can use to make different cuisines. This is great because if I wanted to make something myself, but I don't want to go along with a recipe, I could kind of like wing it and just have a certain idea of what I can do. And as someone who doesn't really understand subjective phrases, I think that she definitely has like analogies that even I can understand. And it's just like the way that she writes, it's very visual as well. It's not just like these cold cut instructions. Moving on to TV, Samin also has a documentary on Netflix called, by her cookbook, Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat. It is really fun to watch. It's kind of like a comfort show that you can watch on a Friday night, eating spaghetti in your pajamas. My favorite episode of Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat was probably the fourth episode, which is called Heat. In her book, as well as the fourth episode in her documentary, she talks a lot about this restaurant called Chez Panisse. Chez Panisse is owned by Alice Waters. It is inside a neighborhood in Berkeley called the Gourmet Ghetto, and that is where I was living at the time when I was a student there. For her to just show the different parts of Berkeley, like the restaurant itself, that whole street on Shattuck, and Berkeley Bowl, it gave really good vibes, and I just really liked watching her, cook with her mother as well. But another show that I've been watching is The Good Doctor. It is based off of a Korean drama that is now Americanized, and it stars Freddie Highmore. It's definitely one of those like, feel good, like warm in your heart type of shows, and it's also a show where you don't really have to watch it in chronological order to like get what's going on. I'm still in the first season, but I cheated. I watched season 2, episode 13, because my friend Alex actually was starring on that episode. So if you can, go on Hulu and cheat. There's a Netflix show that I binge watch shamelessly. It's called Dead to Me. And the plotline sounds like really simple and maybe like a little dry. It's about a widow in Orange County who joined a grief counseling group, but there's a lot more to it because it's a dark comedy. In the first episode, you think you know what's going on and what's about to happen, and each episode, it kind of unravels a different layer. One of the characters I identify most with is Judy. She is someone who is super conflicted but means well, and you would think that kind of character arc sounds annoying, but the actress Cardellini, she like does such an amazing job with her, just like showing her as someone who is such an endearing fuck up. That's the best way to describe her. I went to the theater, I watched Booksmart, and I loved it. It's directed by Olivia Wilde, and it's like her first directorial debut. She did such a good job. All the characters were so funny, and the plot is really simple. You know, it's kind of like it's basically a movie about FOMO and high school graduation, but there's a lot more to it, like any other movie. The dialogue is great, so many good plot twists. The last one is my ultimate favorite. It is When They See Us. It is a 4-part series on Netflix centered around the Central Park 5 case. I cried hard watching this. And I'm not saying it to scare you off. If you're someone who just like avoids sappy things, you should definitely watch it, because the way that I cried, it was like a cathartic cry. I genuinely felt their pain and their love throughout the whole series. I think Ava DuVernay did such an amazing job portraying what the 5 kids had to go through and what emotions were running in their head. Just like watching it, you know, I felt like I just wanted to hug everyone and I wanted to yell at everyone all at the same time. So many conflicting emotions. Movies and TV shows, like I enjoy them, but they never make me feel something like in my core the way that When They See Us did. I think that if you do watch it and if you feel absolutely nothing, you probably weren't human to begin with. I mean, like, I'm just gonna put it out there. It's so good. You have to, like, I think it makes you an empathetic person. Like, I feel much more empathetic just watching it, and just, I feel like I learned a lot. I've been trying to find hobbies outside of work. One of my hobbies is skateboarding. I had tried different types of skateboards, even cruiser boards, but I fell in love with the Carver Impala. It is such a smooth ride. You can do so much with it, and for something that has thick wheels, you can definitely turn very well too. Luckily, there is a like group of female skaters in California, and it's getting a lot bigger. I was able to find some girls that were on the same level as me, and we've been trying to like skateboard like on the weekends, so that's really fun. Yeah, if you want to start off, I definitely recommend this guy. So those are my general favorites for the month of May. These are things that personally spark joy into my life. Hopefully you find something that does the same for you.